Hello, my friends. Peter Engelhardt here, and welcome to the ultimate How to Build a Meaningful Brand Masterclass. Now, look, I'm assuming it's that word brand, that term branding, that got you to this webinar. You're curious about it. See, the problem is most people misunderstand what branding is and how powerful it can be for your business. So today, I'm going to demystify branding. I'm going to demystify brand strategy. I'm going to simplify it for you, and I'm going to show you a process you can use so you can move from just running a normal business to building an awesome brand, one you'll be really proud of. So as you can appreciate, we've got a real lot to get through today, and you've got a lot to digest. Let's begin by first finding out if you're in the right place today, because your time's precious. So I want you to be clear that spending 50 odd minutes watching what I've got to share with you today will be the best use of your time. So firstly, are you thinking about, or are you in the early stages of starting your own business? Or do you have an existing business? Or do you work in a marketing capacity for business? But in all three cases, do you want that business to grow, to be bigger than a one or two man show? And do you want to build something that will really be successful over the long term? And as part of that, do you want to be seen as a leader in your industry? If that's the case, then I can promise you you're in the right place. So thanks for your time. It's really an honor to be sharing the research I've done and the method I've developed that has helped so many businesses discover the concept of growing a brand instead of simply running a business, because it's two different beasts. So now before we start, I want to talk about the things I've discovered since writing my book, starting my workshops, and creating my e-tool Plan to Brand. See, it amazes me how many people now share their business issues with me. On the surface, you might think every other business owner around has it all sorted. But when it comes to establishing and growing a business, so many owners are challenged with constantly finding new business, maintaining growth, meeting sales targets. It's not easy for anyone. And when I dig deep and start getting very specific, many people tell me that their main problem is a lack of a point of difference. They feel a little vanilla. This means they're often left competing on price a lot, and it's this lack of a point of difference that challenges you every day. Others say they lack clarity and focus, that they're all things to all people, a bit all over the shop. The upshot of this is that they take on just about any type of work to get the turnover, but it often bites them in the bum, actually costing them business and lost time and money. So I also hear a lot of businesses say they've plateaued and they don't really know what to do about it. In the past, work just came easier, but now with the new customer, so heavily reliant on web searching and getting recommendations from peers, they struggle to cut through. They struggle with social media. They struggle and feel stretched and at a loss of how to reboot and start growing again. While others admit that they struggle just with their marketing, and it's not just where to advertise, but it's what to say in their advertising, how to get attention, how to get cut through, often in a few words and in a few seconds. Now, the last three problems are really all symptoms of the first problem, a lack of a point of difference. And that is central to everything I'm going to be showing you today. At its simplest level, that's what every great brand has, right? And most businesses are missing it. Think about it. Why are there so many chocolate bars, yet only one Snickers bar, only one Mars bar, only one M&M, right? It's because these brands are owned by larger multinationals who understand that having a point of difference is the best way, if not the only way, to build a great brand. So my goal today is to not only show you, but also give you the steps to make this shift from, hey, I'm running a business, I'm in a competitive environment, it's challenging, to, okay, I've worked out my point of difference, and now I'm building an invincible brand. See, having a point of difference is pretty much the holy grail of marketing today. Clarity on the value you deliver and how to communicate your point of difference puts you in a leadership position. Now, one more thing. Everything I'm going to show you today is based on years of research into how the world's leading brands rise up to dominate their markets. That's right. Not only did we study every marketing and brand thought leader out there, we studied the Amazons and the FedExes. We studied Google, the national brands, the international brands, the big brands, the small brands, Virgin, Apple, Nike,
You name it. You name them, and we dissected exactly what they do to dominate their industries, to differentiate. So today I'm going to share with you a framework I developed while studying these brands. The things they address as they build the foundations that underpin their point of difference. And I'm going to give these to you in a simple formula to follow so you can start building a brand that dominates your industry. You'll also learn the single most important thing that stops every business from succeeding, from becoming a successful brand, and that 99.9% of the businesses on the planet struggle with. This one concept alone has helped hundreds of businesses I work with transform in ways they never thought possible. And it's not rocket science. Thirdly, you'll learn the one simple defining factor that helps the world's top brands outperform their competitors by a factor of 12. Now, this literally changed my business focus overnight, and it comes up very early in today's presentation. You're also going to learn about a completely new way of getting inside your customer's head and finding insights that will help you create a point of difference that matters to them. So there's no more guessing what you should be saying in any of your content or marketing. So before we jump in, you're probably wondering who I am and how did I come to be here today presenting on building a meaningful brand. Well, just quickly, I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I've been married for 26 years to the amazing Amanda, and I have a beautiful 21-year-old daughter. Now, this is us setting up for her 21st birthday party. And I've been the director of 2 strategic marketing and design companies over the past 30 years. The first half of my career, I spent building up a traditional agency, and here you can see the clients I advised and worked with, and some of the many brands I started and helped to build. If you're from Australia, you'll recognise a lot of these. But by far the most interesting stage of my life began when I split from my business partner of 15 years and started Creative Brew. That was around the year 2000 as the internet was beginning to change the business world. I positioned Creative Brew to help the new wave of smaller businesses that were popping up everywhere, hoping to take advantage of everything the emerging internet had to offer. We specialised in everything online, from website development through to email marketing, SEO, pay-per-click, basically all things inbound. I think this best describes the wild wave my team and I rode after starting Creative Brew. See, in the space of 10 years, not only did Apple release the iPod, the iPhone and the iPad, but Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, some 70 plus substantial social media platforms also launched, completely transforming the business landscape. Being in the position we were, we saw new businesses literally popping up every day. The internet provided the inspiration and the tools, and everyone began dreaming of working for themselves. See, there were no more barriers to entry, and entrepreneurship literally became the new black. But sadly, what I witnessed began to alarm me. See, the internet, it was meant to bring us more opportunities and more customers from all over the globe. We were all sold on this work less, earn more dream. But the reality was the complete opposite. The big established brands also saw opportunities the internet offered and took advantage of them quick smart. They were in the ideal position to outspend and outmarket pretty much everyone, leaving the majority of companies in their wake. It was after around 2007 or 8, I began to see figures like this on the internet. 60, 70, 80% of businesses failing in their early years. Statistics like these are everywhere. I've seen them in Europe, England, America, Australia, and I was seeing it firsthand too. Many of my clients kicked off with a big bang, but honestly, the majority struggled. Yet on the flip side, the larger brands and the Fortune 500s of the world continued to defy gravity. The irony is the biggest and most loved brands in the world don't even notice the economic downturns. In fact, many gain market share when the economy falters. You think about it. This just got me thinking though, why do so many businesses fail in their early years? Or flip the question, what do the world's best brands do so much better than small businesses? See, I thought there should be a better way for the Davids of the world to stand up to the Goliaths out there. I don't want to live in a world where choice is limited to 3 fast food outlets, 2 supermarkets and a hardware brand. I thought that the smaller businesses deserved a bigger slice of the pie than they're currently getting. So that's when my search began. Now, it wasn't hard to find out the number one reason that most businesses fail. It was lack of money. Now, obviously, I couldn't do anything about that. But what I did find that I knew I could do something about was the second most common reason most businesses fail, which is a lack of strategic planning. This was when the penny dropped for me, right? Thinking back to every business who came to me for help over the past, say, 10 years, if I had to put them in a category, I would describe them as all as tactic driven. They would come to me for a website, but when they realised that there was more to getting business traction, they came back looking for help with Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or possibly a sales funnel. See, most businesses simply started. They didn't address issues like, what is my point of difference? Because they didn't have that deeper marketing knowledge the larger brands had. So as a result, they went around jumping from tactic to tactic in the hope of finding something that would help grow their business. Now, tactics are not a problem on their own, right? Tactics are the steps and tools you use to drive your marketing. But for a tactic to be successful, it needs to be informed or driven by a strategy, some underlying information or guidance, that is, a plan. And that's exactly what the world's biggest companies do. They address their strategy first, before jumping into tactics. They have a plan. They have a clear understanding of the market. They look for gaps and opportunities to differentiate. And they're guided to a huge degree by a strategic overview or plan that they create. This is what sets the best apart from the rest. This simple concept, tactics versus strategy, is the single most important thing that stops most businesses from becoming a great brand. Let me explain a little further. See, at its heart, a brand is a gut feeling. All right? A gut feeling that you, the prospect or customer, forms whenever you have contact with a brand. So that gut feeling is influenced by everything the brand does or says, right? It's the way they answer the phone. It's the look of their website. It's their customer service. It's their signage. It's the causes they support. To build a brand, it's your job to positively influence that gut feeling 24/7. Now, tactics only play a small role here. Tactics are used to push products or services to make sales. Now, without any strategic thought, this often looks like, hey, look over here, buy my product or service. Now, done well, this will get results, but only as long as the campaign lasts. Whereas a brand strategy is created to define the gut feeling prospects are left with when they interact with your business. So it's your strategy that defines that gut feeling and brings a brand to life. Without a strategy, you can't build a brand. It's that simple. For example, let's say you run a gym. Your marketing or tactics may convince someone to come to your gym, but it's the brand experience, the gut feeling that customers are left with, that will determine if they come back again and again. Did the gym session live up to the fastest way to get fit promise? Was the gym uncrowded, as the advertising said? Did the staff remember your name and make you feel welcome? These are the things a brand strategy defines, as you'll soon find out. But first, let's look at why thinking strategically is so important today, and then we'll look at a brand strategy in action. Now, this is Marty Neumeier, pretty much a branding demigod and author of many books on branding. In his book Brand Gap, Marty points out a very interesting phenomenon that is changing marketing and therefore the branding world, which has to do with human psychology and what marketers have to do today to gain our attention. He argues that as we have moved from a one-size-fits-all economy, like say 50 years ago when there might have only been one newspaper in your town, to a mass customization economy where we all have more choice than we can cope with, the focus on marketing has had to shift from features to benefits to experience to tribal identification. So if you're in business and you're trying to decide on an advertising concept or headline, this shift is vital for you to understand. Let me show you why. Essentially, selling has evolved from an emphasis on what the product or service has. This is a typical ad from the 1920s, which points out the phone features, right? Back then, there was little choice, so this is all it took to create an effective ad. As the choice of products on the market shelves began to grow, marketing had to shift more towards talking about what the product or service does, right? So rather than features, advertising began to talk about the benefits of a product or service. as we became more affluent and we were offered more and more choice, the features and benefits angle was superseded by a shift to how does that brand make me feel to get buyers' attention. Because we, the consumer, became more discerning and our emotions began to increasingly drive buying decisions. We wanted to know what we will experience when we use the product or service. Today, we're in the land of way too much choice, right? We're bombarded with well over 5,000 marketing messages a day, apparently. So the latest shift in marketing is to more tribal messages that make us think, hey, that brand really gets me. They understand how I'm thinking. Now, features and benefits still matter and have their place in advertising depending on the product or service. But as an overall trend, messaging and marketing today has to hit the consumer's funny bone. That is why Nike's advertising is so effective. They understand the desire in us to feel a sense of achievement as we attempt to get fit. This is why Nike's advertising is so effective. They understand the desire in us to feel a sense of achievement as we attempt to get fit. When the folks at Nike suggest, my time is now, or just do it, they're peering into our soul. You feel they understand you, and then you're willing to join the Nike tribe. It's just a gut feeling, but it's there, and it influences buyer behavior. So let me show you how that he gets me works in the real world. How understanding your prospects and creating a particular image in their mind, which is an outcome of thinking strategically, can dramatically influence purchase behavior. Many of you won't recognise this, but it's the first MP3 player. Yes, it's the first breed of iPod. This was released in 1997, I think, by RCA. It's called a Lyra, well before the Apple iPod, right? By all reports, it was a quality MP3 player, but it just didn't sell. Yet 6 years later, Apple released the MP3 player, the iPod, and it changed the music industry forever. Why? Well, it all has to do with how each company positioned their product in the mind of their prospects. See, the advertising for RCA's Lyra all revolved around having 1 gig of storage, and the iPod told prospects they could walk around for the first time with 1,000 songs in their pocket. Right? So the Lyra was talking about what the product had, its features. Now, that would be okay if your market was, say, tech geeks, right? But on the other hand, Apple understood their target market, and it wasn't tech geeks. See, thinking strategically, Apple defined their ideal customer and their needs and desires, so their advertising agency was briefed well, and they were able to create an ad that connected with their customers. Now, yes, you can argue that this is quite sophisticated advertising and that smaller businesses can't bat at that level. But the reality is, if you run a business and you advertise, for your marketing to work well, the brand has to provide the inspiration. Right? For marketing to work well, the brand needs to provide the inspiration. And when I say inspiration, the ultimate thing to hang your hat on is a point of difference. This is why it's up to you, the owner of a business or the marketer, to work through the process of defining your brand and its point of difference, so in turn your business has a clear focus and your marketing, no matter who produces it, has something of substance to work with. Okay, we're about the halfway mark now, so now I'll introduce you to the framework you need to follow to define and then establish a point of difference and create the foundations that support it. So let's go back a few years. As we were researching everything great brands do to become great, we put together a workshop framework for all of our current clients. We had such a great response, we eventually began delivering the workshop to larger audiences, all the time asking ourselves, how can we make brand strategy planning simpler? Over time, the workshops grew, and to date we've taken over 1,200 businesses through various iterations of the process. Based on the workshop's success, my team and I decided to put the process online, and that's when Plan to Brand was born. The brainstorming exercises and interactivity we needed couldn't be achieved using a typical e-course platform, so we built our own interactive e-tool, we call it, which combines education and creation all in one platform. So with Plan to Brand, you don't just learn about creating a point of difference through strategic planning, you actually create your point of difference and a strategic plan to help your business bring it to life. The outcome is a living document. Okay, so now I'll give you a brief overview of the 7 steps covered in Plan to Brand. and then I'll go into each step in detail. The very first step is your why or purpose, a core statement of intent that underlies everything you do, because purpose-led companies outperform others. I'm going to show you this in a minute. They also have more motivated staff and deliver value beyond price. It's also the foundation for a great point of difference. The second step is getting to know your customers so that you can set yourself apart from your competitors in ways that matter most to them. The third step is finding that unique position for your brand, defining your point of difference. This is core to your brand success. You need to be able to give your audience something to buy into, not just buy. Once you're clear on the initial three foundations, the next step is to define your brand principles, or pillars we call them. Great brands use these to guide most fundamental business decisions. The fifth step is all about creating your brand promise. This is the commitment you're going to make to your customer, the thing or the experience that you'll deliver on it every time. The sixth step is your vision, a statement of what success looks like and the steps to get there. And the last step is all about putting on a human face so your brand connects emotionally with your prospects and customers. Okay, next I'll go through the steps in a little more detail and talk about why they are so important and show you how various brands express them so you can see how, when all of these elements are thought through strategically, they become the foundations to your point of difference and a structure that strategically, that's a mouthful, a structure that strategically guides your brand at an internal and external level, which creates your brand strategy, your strategic approach to the market. There we go, that word again. Think of it as a framework or a plan that guides everything your brand is going to do. Okay, so first we'll go back to number one, the core that supports your brand purpose. Now, the reason your brand exists, that's what your purpose is. It's not what you do, it's why you do it. Brand purpose has become a hot topic in recent years, perhaps because millennials, more than any other generation, are driven by doing good and actively seek out brands that align with their ideals. Brand purpose is now debated at the boardroom level in large organisations and one-man shows. And interestingly, having a clearly defined brand purpose has also been proven to be a major driver of brand success. See, in a famous 6-year project at Stanford University, James Collins and Jerry Porras studied 18 exceptional and enduring brands, right? Now, they determined that the primary driver for building a successful company is the ability to nurture a clear purpose. That is what held the glue together. Amazingly, their research discovered that purpose-driven companies such as Coca-Cola, Disney, Sony, Walmart, right, they have consistently outperformed their competitors on the stock market by a factor of 12 since 1925, right? Let me show you why that's possible. Simon Sinek probably sums this up best, right? Customers will never love a company until its employees love it first. A purpose gives employees a greater reason for working. It gives meaning to their day. It gives them a focus that sees everyone pulling together. Walt Disney once said, "My goal, as I said, was to get everyone who we hired to share in an intangible dream and not just work for a paycheck." So after lots of thought, Walt Disney decided his purpose was to simply create happiness for others, right? This inspires everything who works at Disney. Their job is to create happiness. So people who believe what Walt believed, who share a similar vision, they are attracted to Walt Disney for reasons over and above just money. Right? People make an emotional connection to a brand and its leadership because of their purpose, why they do what they do. Another example, Tom's purpose is so powerful. I don't know if you've heard of Tom's Shoes, but 1 for 1 is pretty much his business model, and it's his purpose. You buy his shoes, he gives a pair to a person in need. You buy his glasses, he gives a pair to a person in need. You buy his coffee, he provides drinking water to a person in need. You buy his bags, he provides safe birth kits to mothers in need. You buy his backpacks, and he helps provide school staff and crisis counsellors with training to help prevent and respond to bullying. The importance of a company's purpose has been heightened today because of 4 key things. First, it's technology, right? Consumers have the world at their fingertips and they're looking for some sort of connection. Two, it's the proliferation of content. You need to be creating great content, not just content that talks about your product. So if you can talk about your purpose, if you can weave that through your brand content, it makes a lot of difference. Three, sustainability, right? Our carbon footprint, saving the poor, saving the planet, saving the orangutans. It's all moving from the fringe to the mainstream. It's expected. And four, the savvy consumer who has more choice than ever and who is exercising that right and choosing the brands that align with their values, they're the ones that you should be chasing and thinking about, right? So the question becomes just how do you find your purpose? Well, within Plan to Brand, there are 3 exercises and I teach a few others. But let's have a look at one method I've created to show you the power of purpose. And it's simply working on expanding what your brand stands for. I'll show you. In this exercise, you write down what your business does. You think about the strategic view of what your business does, right? Or the greater problem you solve. And then you take the broadest view possible. Now, this is how Nike got to where they are today. As for what they do, that's simple. They're in the sporting apparel industry, along with hundreds of other brands. So next, by taking a strategic view of what they do, it's not hard to name fitness as being the industry they're in. Now again, that's nothing revolutionary and it doesn't give them any clear point of difference. But by taking the broadest view possible, they saw that they were in the business of inspiring you and me to enjoy sport, to be motivated, to get out there and just do it, right? If they were going to push those boundaries, it would require innovation, right? And that's when everything changed. By adopting this concept, they came up with their purpose to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. It wasn't really made up by an advertising agency. It required deeper thought. Now, this drives everything Nike does. This simple yet powerful statement lifts Nike above every other sporting apparel brand. In fact, you don't even think of them as a sporting apparel brand anymore. They are in the space of innovating and motivating. This changes the mindset of the entire company, helps them attract great staff who believe what they believe. It makes innovation a business imperative and keeps them one step ahead of their competitors. So let's look at how this can work for a smaller brand. Say you run a small chain of organic food shops, which means you're in the game of selling organic food, like all your competitors. So just how can you set yourself apart from other organic food stores? Well, the strategic view puts you in the health industry. But again, that doesn't quite set you apart. But what if you decided your purpose was to help people live longer? That's why you're selling organic food. It makes sense. You're in the health food industry. So just what would that mean to how you promote your organic chain? Well, the conversation moves from quality or price to foods that help people live longer. Your packaging could say all sorts of amazing things. Your blog could talk about amazing things. Your YouTube channel could have interviews with longevity experts. I don't know. Strategic alliances, think about it. Then you're perceived as an authority on living longer in that space, not in the shopping space. So you can see a purpose can change everything in a business. Think about Creative Brew, my company, right? We once thought that Creative Brew was in the marketing industry, but we discovered a problem. Most businesses are tactic driven. So we decided to do something about it, and our purpose became clear: to educate and inspire every business in the world to think strategically and grow amazing businesses. Our purpose now sets us apart from all of our competitors, but it also helps us to innovate. That's why we created Plan to Brand. In Plan to Brand, there are dozens of examples of purpose and different exercises to help you explore why you do what you do, to help you find yours. Okay, so let's look at the second step for transforming your business into a brand: understanding your ideal buyer. See, to grow a successful brand, you have to do some sort of marketing. And the key to any successful marketing or branding campaign starts with understanding your audience. Otherwise, how are you going to know what to say to get their attention? Guess, right? No. By getting to know a specific group of buyers, your mindset and communication will change from, hey everyone, Here's some information on my great product or service, that rational, logical, right brand messaging, to I totally understand your problem, here's how we help you solve them, the emotional green brain messaging. Successful businesses, think Fortune 500 companies if you want, have this latter mindset. They understand the value of researching and analysing their market to gain a competitive advantage. So just how do you get inside your buyer's head and discover things that can help you with differentiating and growing your brand? Well, for the past 50 odd years, the marketing industry has encouraged businesses to create an avatar or a buyer persona, right? Commonly a picture and description based on an assumption that summarises your buyer demographics, possibly psychographics, geographics, and some behaviours, right? And to be honest, this has limited value. In Plan to Brand, we start with the classic avatar. The image you see here is actually from Plan to Brand. But I believe today you should be delving a lot deeper into your buyer's motivations. So we take it one big step further by taking you through a process of identifying 5 specific drivers so you can build an insightful and therefore helpful picture of your ideal buyer persona. So you can not only craft better marketing, but also reflect on your product or service and look for ways to improve things to better differentiate your brand. It goes sort of 2 ways. First, we help you look at the buyer's solution triggers, right? This is what triggers the buyer to look for a new solution. It's that simple. Knowing this, you're better prepared to think about strategies that resonate with buyers in their early stages of their hunt for a solution. Second, we show you how to identify their critical must-haves. These are the things buyers use to evaluate or compare a solution like yours. What features do they care most about? Knowing this helps create marketing that piques their interest. Thirdly, we look at their desired outcomes. These are scenarios that the buyer believes will change after they've purchased. Psychologically, like going back to the iPod 1000 songs in your pocket, Apple knew that their ideal buyers wanted to be noticed by their friends. So that was their desired outcome. Next, it's important to identify their likely roadblocks. These are the attitudes or concerns that they could have that would prevent them from purchasing. Knowing this will help you in your marketing as well as your product or service development. And lastly, today's buyer persona is not complete with an idea of the buyer journey, right? A behind the scenes sort of story of what buyers do to evaluate and eliminate options and settle on a final choice. Now, the reason for doing this type of research is so you can make that mindset leap from, hey, I run a business, please buy my product or service, to I totally understand your wants, pains, needs, desires, whatever they are, and here's how I can help you fix them, right? This is the key to thinking strategically and creating something valuable that people will pay good money for. Let's quickly look at how understanding a specific buyer intimately and tailoring a business to their needs can help you create a brand that sets you apart. eHarmony have established a very strong brand in the super competitive online dating space. Now, they had insights that women who were seeking marriage or a long-term relationship were not being catered for by the existing dating sites, right? The truth was women didn't feel safe using them. Armed with this knowledge, eHarmony went against the standard practices of the industry and designed a business that appealed to women. I mean, really appealed to women. They created a website that alleviated their concerns to differentiate from everybody else in the industry. Users couldn't just browse the database. Instead, they had to complete an exhaustive questionnaire. The experience for their market, women, was much better because they felt like they were being matched on criteria other than looks. Women felt like they were not wasting their time with men who were not a good match, and the process actually weeded out non-serious users. eHarmony was able to charge much more and enjoy much better margins than competitors and was literally an overnight success. So, by getting to know a specific group of buyers better, it helps you to build a unified team where everyone in the business aligns around what the buyer cares about more than just what you're selling, right? It flips it. It helps you deliver better content that they want to hear about. you can be more persuasive because you know how to help your buyers with their top priorities, and you can plan better marketing. It's more cost effective, more targeted, and you can more easily be seen as that source of useful information. So it's easier to build trust, loyalty, and buyer advocacy. It helps you to think about your business in an innovative way, right? Today, we're always told to innovate. And the key is to innovate in ways that matter to your customer. Armed with insights is a great way for a business to look at what they can dial up, dial down, add to the product or service to make the brand totally unique. And armed with this clarity and focus, it then makes the third step, deciding on your point of difference and claiming that position, much easier. See, in step 3, you identify what sets you apart by first creating a positioning statement, and then you decide on the mind share you want to be known for. The reality is most businesses compete in a market with lots of other companies, all offering the same or similar products or services. Most of you are in that situation. Now, smart companies faced with this, they work hard at creating a differentiated position to stand out, or at least the perception of being different from the competition. Let's look at how one of the world's largest brands did just that. Federal Express took 25 years to come close to being one of the world's largest package delivery services. Now, in the year 2000, facing increasingly stiff competition from the likes of TNT, DHL, UPS, a raft of English and European firms, FedEx understood that there was actually very little or no difference between any of them. So to rise above the noise, to set themselves apart and cement a leadership position, they unleashed new brand positioning to help them leap ahead. Now, on the surface of it, it just looks like this. 25 simple words. To deadline-oriented business people, Federal Express is the overnight package delivery service that's the most reliable because of its sophisticated package tracking system. They launched that and boom, it changed everything. FedEx quickly became synonymous with the perception of reliable delivery, partly because of their positioning statement, yes, but also because they put their money where their mouth was. Let's analyse it. FedEx understood their target market. Deadline-oriented business people wanted the most reliable service. It's quite simple. This was their need, their want. So to deliver on that, FedEx went out and built the world's most sophisticated package and tracking system, because that's the only way you can prove the rest of their positioning statement to be true, and the rest is history. Can you guess what their yearly turnover is today? Well, it's more than $50 billion, right? This is the power of positioning. Let's quickly look at another positioning example. The Entourage is a leading entrepreneurial education institution I work with. Their positioning statement reads, to passionate entrepreneurs, the Entourage is the community-driven, pioneering education institution that enables rapid and sustainable business growth through its game-changing programs delivered by Australia's leading entrepreneurs. Now, I want to point out at this stage, this is an internal statement. It starts to inform lots of things, as you can see, but it's really used as an internal tool to guide everyone and let everyone know what your brand is in a nutshell. See, they understand their target market, passionate entrepreneurs, want rapid and sustainable business growth. This is one of their most important core needs or desires. So they get Australia's leading entrepreneurs to deliver their programs. That's their point of difference. Now, while promising overnight delivery or rapid and sustainable business growth may not be the strategy you use to set yourself apart, no matter what industry you're in, there will be a way to find that holy grail, a point of difference. So let's look at it at a real basic level, to see how thinking strategically can help you with a point of difference. I mean, this is very basic, but last time I was in Hawaii, I discovered 8 different helicopter companies offering scenic tours, right, over the islands. Now, one promised the best equipment, right, superior quality. One claimed to be the people's #1 choice. Another offered the lowest price guarantee, while another was appealing to families, stating that they were locally owned and family operated. Possibly aiming at the honeymooners, one promised to take you to the quiet hideaways. One, after my vote, claimed to be the safest. More patriotic even, one claimed to be the original. And another promised to give you the best photo opportunities. So, for the happy snapper tourist. So you can see that defining your position in the market will involve a more strategic focus, one where you might be catering to a smaller niche and introducing something your competitors don't offer. But this is the only way to work towards defining what your brand is in a word or two, by owning mind share. The outcome of strategic positioning helps you to work towards owning a specific single attribute that buyers instantly associate with your brand. This is ultimately what you should be aiming for, helping to further differentiate your brand. It's pretty much the pinnacle. This is how you find your strapline and your brand essence and things like that. In the case of the entourage, it's business growth. We've looked at FedEx, it's overnight delivery, Volvo's safety, luxury for Mercedes, happiness for Walt Disney, we've talked about that, and cool is Apple. But now the good news that makes building a brand a no-brainer is, right, as humans, we are inherently lazy. It's a trait left over from our ancestors' days of conserving energy for the next hunt. We always look for the shortest or easiest way of doing things. And even using our brain power burns up lots of calories. And today, in our chaotic world, brands can act as a shortcut to our busy lives. That's the cool thing about building one, right? The chances are you all have a favourite clothing brand, a makeup brand, a car brand, a gym you attend, the dentist you see, right? But when you have faith in a brand, you don't waste time looking for another gym or dentist, right? You go back to that brand that has earned a position of trust in your mind because it makes your life easy. We just don't want to waste time looking for a new dentist or checking out a gym if they have delivered the goods. So I hope you can see the power of working through this process. Building a brand like this, it has so many advantages. All right, let's move on to the fourth step, your brand pillars. As you're beginning to see, a brand includes a lot more elements and goes way deeper than the logo you display on your website. It might sound odd, but your brand lives in people's heads. It's the sum total of the perceptions they form, and brand pillars play an important role in influencing the deeper meaning, driving and differentiating your brand. Your brand pillars will look something like this. They are a set of 3 surprisingly powerful keywords and a short descriptive statement describing each pillar. These are Virgin's brand pillars. Richard Branson has started over 400 companies and all subscribe to these pillars. He won't enter into a business unless he can care and delight for the customer, unless he can innovate and bring new things to the industry, and be cheeky and have fun at the same time. This combination of attributes cement his brand's point of difference and guide the customer experience. All staff understand they need to deliver on day in and day out. Now, just as important, pillars also guide how you will innovate and the marketing messages you develop. These are so strong. Let's look at PayPal to see that in action. PayPal's first pillar is secure always. Here they state it's a priority to keep your money and personal information safe and secure at all times. They understand that they have to convey that fact that moving money using PayPal is safe and secure. So this pillar helps drive the concepts they use in their advertising with messages like this, banishing the worry one transaction at a time. Their second pillar is simple. They understand their customer wants, using PayPal to be simple. A complicated website will put people off. So this pillar is there to remind everyone at PayPal that simplicity is a priority, something to think about every day. So you'll notice that they are constantly simplifying their website, always making it more intuitive and easy to use. And again, this pillar becomes a core message. If you can't read the ad, the body copy starts with introducing PayPal here, the simple way to accept credit and debit cards. They're permanently pushing this attribute. This is an example of how pillars drive product development. It guides the way they innovate and their marketing messages. I keep saying it. The third pillar is fierce advocate for you. Here they state, we do business honestly and transparently, and we're always innovating to give you more control and greater value. See, PayPal understand our apprehension to trust large corporations. So as a brand, they believe it's vital that they let us know that they're honest and transparent. Here the ad talks about refund returns and safer shopping. You can see that the combination of all three pillars embodies their point of difference. It gives PayPal staff a clear picture of what their brand priorities are and how the customer should experience the brand. And you see how strategic thinking done well is like the pieces of a jigsaw or the links in a chain, while with all the elements fitting together and supporting each other, giving you more clarity and focus as the elements build. So again, in Plan to Brand, there are plenty of examples, supporting videos, guided exercises that step you through this process of building out your brand pillars. Okay, on to step 5, your brand promise. So what exactly is a brand promise and why should you have one? Well, quite simply put, a brand is a promise delivered. That's a classic way of describing a brand. And your brand promise is the commitment you make to your customer. It's as simple as that. It articulates an idea that goes beyond the rational benefits that used to work in the past, the ones we spoke about in those earlier examples, and talks to the sort of higher order emotional reward. The best brands deliver against their promises, and in return they become stronger, more resilient, and sort of credible in the eyes of their customer. A brand promise is not a tagline, although it can be, but there's a grey area there, but more it's an internal signal that guides everything a brand does. We've spoken about FedEx. Their commitment to the customer is when it absolutely positively has to get there overnight. That's their promise to you, the customer. BMW, right? It's the ultimate driving machine. So how simple is it? It sums up exactly what BMW is, and it plays a huge role in guiding their daily decisions. Just as H&M's more fashion choices that are good for people, the planet, and your wallet tells you that their designs are good, they use environmentally friendly materials, safe work practices, and buying H&M clothes won't burn a hole in your pocket. And I love this one. For Thrive Market, simply organic brands you love for less. That's the promise. Now, it couldn't be simpler. Why is a promise so important? Well, by creating a brand promise, you're setting the expectation that your prospects will experience when you deal with the brand, right? Think of it like this. Let's say you're an enthusiastic beginner rock climber. You meet someone at a party with experience who offers you help. Like you, they love rock climbing and they've got years of experience, and you're left with the impression that he's going to connect with you and help take your passion to the next level, maybe next weekend. Awesome, right? This new friend has knowledge and experience you value. It's someone who shares your interests and passions, and it's someone you want to trust and believe in. It's the beginning of a new relationship. Okay, we've all been in this position. What happens next is the difference between this new person turning out to be a genuine valued friend or a flake. He's either true to his word or not. This is exactly how a prospect, whether consciously or subconsciously, assesses your brand. They have a perception and you either deliver on it or not. So when it comes to creating a brand promise, which is an amazing couple of words to have in your arsenal, you need to be prepared to back it 100%. So as we move along, you can see how little brand strategy has to do with fancy creative and a nice corporate identity, and more to do with approaching the market from a completely strategic perspective. So now we're on to the 6th step, your vision. This is when it really starts to become fun and empowering. Your foundations are giving you more and more clarity and focus. Now it's time to build a picture of what success looks like sometime in the future, with a goal that is both challenging and inspiring for everyone. For a brand to be successful long term, the management, that's you, must have a good vision of the future. Now, I'll be the first to admit that you don't just pluck a vision out of the air. So in Plan to Brand, we break vision down into 5 possible types of statement to make it easier and guide you as you decide on yours. Firstly, there's what we call the target-oriented vision statement, right? It's quantitative. It's based on a number, like Nike's, to be the #1 athlete company in the world. Then there's the target-oriented vision statement that's qualitative, like Oxfam's, a just world without poverty. You might like to create a competitive vision statement that really drives and shapes your brand, like Honda's vision from back in the 70s. This is pretty cool. We will destroy Yamaha. Or If you've been around for some time, you might want to consider a transformative vision like Sony's to become the company most known for changing the worldwide poor quality image of Japanese products. Another mouthful. Wow. And then there's the role model statement, like Stanford's to be the Harvard of the West. Your brand vision is there to inspire your employees and your customers and give you clear direction. Most of the strategic branding steps have been inward facing, and they're there to guide many business decisions, right? Now, the seventh, geez, I'm losing it here. The seventh step, however, is all about how to express your brand's purpose, vision, and pillars, right? All of that by adopting a brand personality. All right, today it's critical to give your business a friendly face. The reality is branding has almost nothing to do with a lot of things that bankers obsess about. Annual percentage rates, money, numbers, spreadsheets. Branding's got nothing to do about that. It's all about influencing people's emotions. That's the key to it. And the truth is, as humans, it's pretty complex. We all gravitate and warm to certain people because of their personality and how they look. And it's no different with brands. For instance, being male, I find something alluring about the girl on the bottom right. I can't put it into words, but there is something that attracts me to her more than the other women on the slide. What about you? Who are you attracted to? And why? You probably can't put it into words. See, the thing is, as humans, we're hardwired to feel before we think. In fact, we feel in order to think. Our gut instincts drive many behaviours. Kevin Roberts from Saatchi & Saatchi made this thought-provoking statement. Emotion, intuition, long-term memories and unconscious motivations make up as much as 80% of our decision-making processes. And that decision can be whether to buy from you or not, right? So who you decide to be lifelong friends with has more to do with an emotional gut feeling than any rational thought. So to help differentiate your brand and build out a unique brand personality and brand identity, so you adopt human personalities that sort of subtly ooze their way through the look and feel of your brand. Plan to Brand steps you through the same process many great brands use, called brand archetypes, right? This is first conceived by Carl Jung, right? These character types represent 12 core human desires, drivers, fears, and motivators that are embedded into our subconscious. Personalities, and therefore brand personalities, are not one-dimensional. So to get the best result and Plan to Brand, we guide you through the process of deciding on a combination of 3 archetypes. The first being your standard archetype. This is what your business category type is usually categorized as, and the base from where to start. The second archetype you choose is your core. That's the heart or DNA of your personality. This is really what differentiates you. And the third is your edge. This is something you occasionally use, something to fall back on, or when you need to add another level of spice. To show you how it works, let's look at 3 competing airline brands, Southwest, Emirates and Virgin, and the different archetypes they adopt to create totally distinctive brands, even though they're in a very similar space, right? First, we'll look at Southwest. The standard archetype for an airline industry is the explorer. Broadly speaking, the explorer companies are involved in discovery, helping people feel free, assisting them on a journey. Explorer brands are often associated with integrity, authenticity. Now, Southwest Airlines have identified their ideal buyer as the leisure traveller and the short-haul business traveller. To differentiate themselves and appeal to these buyers, they've adopted the everyman archetype as their core. Now, everyman brands project a nice, irresistible personality, right? They want to be seen as the likeable guy or girl who lives next door, known for honesty and hard work and embracing common sense values. So to demonstrate this differentiating trait, they've positioned themselves as the airline that democratised air travel, treating every passenger as an equal. This theme is evident in most of their marketing if you have a look. The image you see here is from a recent video they recorded of their the launch of their first international flight to Jamaica. Now, their edge archetype is the lover. Like lover brands look for ways to make others feel special by creating moments of intimacy and harmoniousness and pleasurable relationships, right? The heart concept and image used in so much of their advertising reinforces this trait. So you can see a personality based on the likable everyman combined with you're the only one attitude of the lover guides their content, their advertising, their entire brand image. They're briefed, the designers are briefed with this, and that's what they come back with. Now, Emirates, on the other hand, have identified globalists who see travel as a vital part of their lifestyle as their ideal buyer, and have positioned themselves as the global lifestyle airline. So they chose ruler as their core archetype. Right, the ruler is motivated by the desire for safety and security and drawn to things that are substantial, timeless, and high quality. Now, Emirates Edge is the magician. Magical brands help customers feel they can grow wiser or find people that will help influence them. They leave the impression that they have special access to secret or elusive information or transformative experience and miracle moments, right? Based on these characteristics, Emirates advertising suggests attributes like leadership, exclusivity, connecting with people in high places. They have luxury lounges, chauffeur services, high-tech wide-body planes, and the top in-flight services, 2,500 channels in 30 languages. It's crazy. So again, you can see differentiating archetypes they chose guide their marketing. Now, when it comes to Virgin positioning themselves in the crowded marketing space, they chose a completely different personality because of their ideal buyer described as the maverick Gen Xers. To appeal to them, Virgin decided their core should be the rebel. I think Richard had a lot to do with that decision. Now, the rebel is known for developing truly radical ideas, products and services, right, and leading reform of all kinds. They often break from current convention and change the rules of the game. So to complement their edge, their edge is the jester. The jester is characterized by a brand who excels in thinking outside the box. They find clever ways around obstacles and have fun while getting work done. They're not afraid to bend the rules, to stand out, and are comfortable in their own skin. They often take issues and shed new light on them to highlight absurdities. Once again, you can see how this combination helps consistently guide a creative approach to content marketing that expresses the brand and how they are different. Right? In Plan to Brand, we make it really easy for you to choose your archetypes. It's a very simple process, and it helps you describe your brand personality, so you'll never have an issue with creatives or designers. So you can see Plan to Brand's been designed to guide you through the process of differentiating your product or service from the herd and helping you create a compelling identity so you can be consistent and stand out from the crowd, even in a crowded niche. Now, I want to show you what the outcome you can expect when you work through the Plan to Brand process looks like, because it's, to date, it's really not that clear. I get that. When we first started working with the Entourage, their messaging was all over the place. Now, to help them get more clarity and focus and answer the most challenging question, which is why someone should buy from them and not the competition, we took them through the Plan to Brand process. And on the left is their website before they came to us, and on the right is their website afterwards when they got a lot clearer on their messaging. But let's have a look at this. The Entourage decided that their purpose was to enable greatness, inspire freedom, and change the world. Really cool. Now, their ideal buyers defined as passionate business owners. We talked about this earlier. These are people who are prepared to invest their time in growing their business. We looked at their positioning statement earlier. I won't go over again. You're familiar with that. Now, their core pillars are providing accessible knowledge, supporting the entrepreneur's journey, and delivering education in an innovative way. Now, to enable greatness and enable rapid and sustainable business growth, they promise to break down the barriers that separate you from what is and what can be. That's their brand promise, breaking down the barriers that separate you from what is and what can be. Now, their vision is quite simply to be the world's leading entrepreneur education institution. right? So simple yet challenging, and complete focus. Now, their brand personality. The standard archetype is the caregiver. Because above all, they want to be known for caring about the entrepreneurs who's trusting them and, to come on the journey to greatness and freedom. The concept of supporting weaves its way through all of their content and marketing as well. Their core is the creator, because they are challenging the education system and innovating, creating new ways to educate entrepreneurs through game-changing programs. And their edge is the magician. They want to be seen as the brand that affects transformation. They want their marketing to represent them and imply that, if you want to change the world, then look no further. This is where it happens. And they want to let people know that they will help you break down the barriers. And they want to impress on prospects that they are the innovators in the education space. So you can see how these brand foundations form an ecosystem which guides and describes what for many business owners is first very intangible, often in people's heads, but hard to pin down and articulate in a meaningful way. See, I created Plan to Brand because I saw so many businesses struggle and fail. And the irony is the internet was meant to bring us more business, make us more money, give us more time to ourselves. And the reality is, for every industry in the world, we have never experienced so much competition, and the customer has never had so much choice. This is a big problem for businesses, and it's not going away. Now, as you can tell, I'm pretty proud of Plan to Brand, and I just want to show you and give you a quick demo. So this is just a quick tour. You can see how case studies are presented, supported by lots of examples from all over the world. We've created interactive tools like the slider you see here, and more examples. This is from the Vision module. This is another simple brainstorming tool coming up, which is drag and drop from lists that we provide that narrow things down for you. That's just such a small taste of what it looks like in there, but it's very creative and fun to use and get engaged with. If you jump onto Plan to Brand's website, you will see some testimonials, quite a few testimonials, and we're building them up all at the time. But just in the meantime, this is what Brenda Thompson said, CEO from Smart Connect. She says it's one of the best learning tools she's seen in the small business sector for over 10 years, and she's a trainer. We have Kerry Bolton here, a great businesswoman. She says that users will achieve an outcome most small businesses and entrepreneurs don't achieve in 5 or 10 years of business. And Rhodey, the Social Minute, if you want to build a brand with a true competitive advantage, instead of running a business, there we go, this process is a no-brainer. So just in summary, all right, Plan to Brand's an interactive online tool. We've built it from scratch. There is nothing like it in the world, I promise you. Nothing comes close to this. No one's tackling this subject. No one's demystifying brand strategy and making it manageable and achievable for so many small businesses. It demystifies brand strategy, I promise you that. It gives you the power. It's designed for you to take control. There are hundreds of examples of the brand promise, the positioning statements, the vision statements, the purpose statements, on and on it goes. And it follows the framework I've just talked through, exactly step by step. It's based on what the world's greatest brands do, and it's self-paced, okay, lifetime access. And we're always improving and adding to it. There's weekly webinar support. You can jump online and chat to me 1 hour a week. I'm there helping people get through the process. And the outcomes are all printable and shareable. They're updatable. They're always up there in the cloud. Okay, so if you're a passionate business owner, if you want to build a brand that dominates your industry, if you want more control over your destiny and you're in it for the long term, it's a no-brainer. There are no shortcuts in business today. I promise you that. There are no shortcuts. So consider Plan to Brand seriously. There we go. There's a 14-day money-back guarantee. You go to www.plantobrand.com and sign up on the pricing page. Now, currently, $995 Australian dollars, that is. I call that supported. It's the option there you have to choose from. $420 in 3 payments if that's what you want. It's an awesome price. It will be going up in time as we're getting more interest from America. Doing a fair bit of business there, and I've had advice to put it into American dollars. But for now, $995, and for about $5,000, you can work one-on-one. That option isn't on the website. Contact me and talk to me about that. The best place to contact me would be to book in my diary a Zoom call at calendly.com/Peter-P2B, i.e. Plan to Brand. So yeah, if you jump online there, you can ask me any questions, book a call. I'll send you a link and we can discuss if it's appropriate for your business or what your best steps might be. Please get in touch. Please consider Plan to Brand. It is pretty cool, and I'll leave it there. Good luck, and hopefully speak to you soon. So this is just a quick tour. You can see how case studies are presented, supported by lots of examples from all over the world. We've created interactive tools like the slider you see here, and more examples. This is from the Vision module. This is another simple brainstorming tool coming up, which is drag and drop from lists that we provide that narrow things down for you. That's just such a small taste of what it looks like in there, but it's very creative and fun to use and get engaged with.